Welcome to the threesome, y'all. This is a podcast where the three of us try to talk about at least three topics each week. And the three of us, of course, are Star, our point person, and our optimistic realist.
Whoop, whoop.
And then there's the center of our threesome, Mr. Magic, who is also our voice of reason.
It's Mr. Nut. Thank you.
And bringing up the rear, as always, is me, Storm, and I identify as the pragmatic contrarian. And joining us today on our special episode, our threesome has become a foursome, because my good friend and fellow freak, Dell, is joining us. She is one of my mentors. Say hi to the people, Dell.
Hi to the people. What's going on, everybody?
I'm gonna need an in-depth description of this freak thing.
Oh, well, we could tell stories.
And we probably will. So let's get started. Oh,
Let's
I'm
go.
sorry. Did I just like... Okay, my bad.
Oh, you're the guest. What you feel?
Yeah, so we've known each other for a little over 30 years. My junior year of college or sophomore year, I would think.
Yes.
Yes. Shout out to the Spartan Nation.
Yeah, go green, go white.
Dell is here to talk to us about divorce, which she has recently completed.
Congratulations.
Well, yeah.
In the same state, or dare I say Commonwealth,
It's very fucking common.
that Magic is currently going through it in. So the three of them are going to talk a lot about divorce because I don't know anything about it other than what I have witnessed over the years.
Well, she's the only smart one who didn't choose to get married and have to go through the bullshit. So
Yeah.
kudos to you. Mm-hmm.
Good thinking.
I know my limits.
I did too, but I was trying to be an adult and fuck that. Turns out everything I was thinking in my 20s was right.
So the process of divorce in the Commonwealth is very interesting.
No, it is bullshit.
Tell it if you don't preach. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. I mean,
I'm
that's
sorry.
one way of describing it. It is certainly different than what we have here in Big Gretch's world.
Right.
Because in the Commonwealth, if you have children, you have to
Be separated for a year if they're under 18.
Yeah,
before you can even file for divorce.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Good for all those taxes.
Yeah.
Now, I believe the thinking behind that is give you guys a chance to cool off and maybe reconcile.
Fuck no,
for the
it's
sake of
Commonwealth.
children.
They want to collect fucking property tax from two different people.
Tell it.
And the fucking sanctity of marriage when the only fucking penalty for adultery is you cannot receive spousal support. They don't give a fuck about the sanctity of marriage. They trying to get some money.
Facts.
Keep in mind, I grew up in Texas for the most part where there is no state tax. Nah, they taking shit out of people's pockets here.
Yeah, divorce in Texas is pretty simple.
Easy gun laws.
This is also not an alimony state. Texas is a community property state. Virginia, which is on some bullshit.
Yes,
All day.
So you had to be separated for a year before anyone filed for divorce, Dell. Right. And as a witness to that year, it went pretty fast.
It did. And for the record, we were under the same roof. And that counted because we were not
together
sharing the same bed. Yeah. So you could be separated under the same roof as long as you're not
sharing the same
relations.
Having relations.
Yeah.
You got more patience than me. I could not.
He wasn't having them with me. He was having them with another bitch. Don't get me started. Motherfucker, don't get me started.
Nah, go on. Speak your truth.
Thank you.
My question is, what if you're having relations but you hate him anyway?
Then you don't tell them that you're having relations and proceed with divorce.
Yeah, also the rules was in after I moved out, if I spent the night there, the whole 1 year had to start over.
What?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
I'm not aware
I mean, what if your kid was sick and you just spent the night?
Then they
you
was
know,
bringing their ass here because no.
of that. Mm-hmm.
And she's a nurse. Fuck that. Listen. Her immediate reaction was, people go through this and they get back together. And I'm like, yeah, people go through this and it's a murder-suicide. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or just simply murder.
Or just murder. I was just about to say.
But if I said it like that,
I love myself.
That's
I'll just fuck that motherfucker up and just keep it moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Del, you had a lot of horror stories when you first got separated. Your ex-husband, that bitch,
That
was
bitch.
stalking
Motherfucker.
you.
How many more names you want to give him? Oh,
By
I'm
the
sorry.
way,
I'm having.
It's okay for me to call him that bitch. I know him.
Oh, it's okay for anybody to call him that bitch. Because that's what the fuck he is. Woo, child. Y'all about to get me started up in this.
Okay.
Woo. Okay.
So, despite him fucking around with his current wife
Mm-hmm.
at the time,
Mm-hmm.
he was
Wait, he
stalking
wifed the
you.
side chick?
Yes, and let me tell you something. The ink wasn't even dry on the motherfucking decree. Okay? Went off to Vegas and did a Elvis ass elopement. Came back
Yeah.
like Steely. I was married now. Yeah, bitch. While you were all the time blaming my motherfucking ass, talking about I was the one cheating on your monkey ass, and you was fucking that bitch the whole time. Don't get me started.
He was telling the whole world that you were cheating on him when he sent letters to your family.
Sent certified letters to my mama. To my mama.
Okay, he qualifies as bitch.
Bitch.
Thank you all day. Well, that ain't even half of it. I could give you some more reasons why he's a bitch. But yeah, that's
and he was stalking you. He had a GPS in your car.
Yeah.
Wanted to know who you were with when you went to the movies and all kind of other bullshit.
Yes. Taking pictures of my car and then texting them to me like, yeah, I see where you at.
She is always the most jealous. That shit is so weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think his whole point was to try to
catch me in some shit.
Right, so that he could claim the high road and not feel bad about the bullshit he was doing.
Yes, and so that when we did file, he could use infidelity as the reason. But since he couldn't, all he could use was, yeah, we were separated for 12 months. That's the reason for the divorce.
Yeah.
Bitch. No, it was because your monkey ass was fucking the Muppet. Don't get me started on that, bitch. Okay, okay.
The Muppet.
Really not
yes, the Muppet. Because she looks like one and she sounds like one. Please don't.
Yeah.
Muppets need love too, Del.
Don't get me started on her family, because...
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that too.
We need to get you a shot or two of tequila. I hear it.
What? Oh, her preacher daddy? Oh, is that who you... Oh.
She probably a freak.
Well, she very well may be.
Her family's so religious that they condone her fucking around with a married dude.
Right.
And then marrying him. Now, in their defense, I am quite certain she didn't tell them that he was married all along. Because for half the time, she didn't know, honestly.
Right. Thank you.
But at some point,
that
bitch
old
did
Eddie
know.
Griffin stand up where he said the difference between black churches and white churches is white churches fuck your kids and black churches fuck your wife.
Damn.
Wow.
That's right. I do remember that stand. Yeah. And that is true.
No, I've never seen that. Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
not all white churches.
Kids tend to be disturbed.
And then all the while, my ex was letting utilities get cut off, insurance policies get canceled. And
certified
who finds
bitch.
out at the last minute? Yeah, exactly. I'm riding dirty in a car with no insurance with our child in it.
In the Commonwealth, your insurance is tied to your property taxes in some kind of weird way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we have.
Yeah, explain that for the people.
What if you don't have property?
Then you're fine, but if you do, they mix all the shit together.
Mm-hmm.
That's insanity.
Ain't it?
It is.
This state is about their motherfucking money.
Yeah, so if you fall behind on your property taxes, you cannot.
You don't have car insurance.
Yeah, you can't get car insurance.
And you can't renew your tags and all that bullshit, which is what happened to yours truly, because that bitch
Which
fell
sounds like
behind on the
hustling
taxes and
backward for the
didn't tell
Commonwealth.
me.
Because if you can't get insurance or tags, you can't go to work and pay off your property tax bill.
Right.
It just sounds stupid.
It is. Yeah, so I didn't know. And I had just lost my father around that same time. So I went
Correct.
home to cremate him and to memorialize him. Come home, and there's no running water in our house. And then when I ask my ex about it, I get cussed out. I'm like, I'm sorry. Where was that my fault? I just cremated my father, and you didn't even bother to come and offer any kind of condolences. And now there's no running water in this house for me or your child, you raggedy bastard. See, don't get me started in this, bitch. I got stories for your ass.
I'm starting to feel like my other half wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Breathe.
To be fair, what part of it was your fault?
Letting him be in charge of the bills,
Yes.
because before the last couple of years of our marriage, we didn't have any issues financially, because he did take care of everything. And so I was like, cool and hip.
Yes.
It was just around the time when he was about to retire that all hell broke loose, and his dumbass didn't plan properly, didn't consult me, didn't say, let's sit down and let's talk about X, Y, and Z, what this retirement's going to look like, what your part of it. No.
Okay. And where
Just
you went wrong was?
I should have fucked him up. Oh, I mean, that was
well, sure. But where you went wrong was not knowing
what
was going on.
Until the 11th hour, the last minute, when I get calls and notices talking about your shit is disconnected, your shit is canceled. Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm using this as a teachable moment.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if your spouse is taking care of all the bills. If you are part of that union, you need to always know.
Be aware
what
of what's
state
going on.
your bills are in. Because you know what? Nobody's promised tomorrow. So
this is true.
Always need to know what's going on financially in your own household.
Always.
I do not care if you're a stay-at-home mom or dad and your spouse is taking care of all the bills. You have got to be aware of what's going on.
And for the record, I came into the marriage with a career. I left the motherfucker with a career. So it's not like I didn't have my own income. It's just that his ass was too prideful and too much ego going on that he wouldn't come to me and be like, look, shit's about to be disconnected. I know I've never had you pay a bill or whatever, but would you mind? Yeah, I would have been pissed, but at least I would have had running water in my motherfucking house for me and my child, because I had an income of my motherfucking own.
Which is very important.
I was still able to take care of myself and our child. Fuck the dumb shit.
When you all finally split, you and your child had to leave the house. Right?
He put us out.
Yes.
Kind of, yeah.
Bitch, all day with a capital B.
Yeah, I'm very against calling these bitches. I've been locked up, but in this situation, yeah, that's a bitch.
Yeah, definitely a bitch. But the reason why he was able to do that was
because when we got the house, it was built from the ground up. My credit was fucked. They wouldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole to put my name anywhere near the house. The house was totally in his name. And he took that literally. So yeah, when things went south, he was like, oh no, I'm not leaving. You getting the fuck out. I'm like, oh.
The reason I wanted to make that point is that little fact right there is also subject to where you live. Because
in Michigan, that wouldn't happen.
In the state of Texas, doesn't matter whose name that house is under. It's community property. If you acquired
how long were y'all married?
11 years officially.
Oh, nah, your lawyer should have got you that.
He took advantage of the fact that I didn't have a lawyer at the time because I couldn't afford one. Well, I'm trying to reopen the whole case anyway because I am due lots and lots of funds.
Yeah, you hit the 10-year mark. You hitting his motherfucking
Mm-hmm.
retirement and everything else.
Exactly. 21 years active duty United States Army. I am due.
Go get your paper.
Yeah.
Actually, me and my other half still, well, she don't like me, but we get along.
Okay.
Well, that's commendable. Because if mine was on fire, I wouldn't pull down my panties to piss on him to put his monkey ass out. To tell you the honest to goodness truth in this motherfucker. I'm just saying.
I don't have much nice to say about the last 2 years, but yeah, she wasn't as wild as your other half.
I am happy for you, for real, because I wouldn't wish this motherfucker on nobody. Okay.
Somebody else get to deal with that headache now.
Let the Muppet bitch have it. She'll see soon enough. If she hasn't seen already, she thinks the sun rises and sets in his ass, so she doesn't think.
We're all adults. We said this on the past episode. The way you get them is the way you lose them. How do you?
You better tell it. I got more stories.
Absolutely.
How long we got?
Another episode.
Okay.
In all honesty, I think that she was of a certain age and just wanted to be married. Because once she found out that he was the Prince of Lies.
Because I told her when she called me, disrespected me on my phone. Okay. The bitch called me, y'all.
Those are the most fun conversations, but I'm an asshole, so I'm very quick to be like, check your bitch. What are you calling me for?
Yeah, Del was mad. I would have been amused. I also would have recorded it, but I'm
Yeah, I fucked up on that. I really should have recorded it.
You were so busy being mad.
I was mad and shocked because I was like, the unmitigated gall of this bitch.
And what did I tell you during the entire divorce process? The anger was not serving.
I know, right? I know. I understand.
You had to think logically about it.
I know.
Yeah.
I was rewatching Being Mary Jane the other day, and there's like a scene where she sees the wife going into a store, and she just took it upon herself to get her ass up out the car and go and tell the wife that she basically fucking around with her husband. And I was just like,
see, that's what this bitch would have done. See?
like, what?
Yeah.
Just for the sake of clarity, which Muppet?
The one who sounds like this. Hi, how are you? And then has yellow ass hair. Is there a Muppet that? Okay.
So we're gonna go like Abby Cadabby from Sesame Street.
Ooh, perfect. I love it. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm visualizing it now.
So Del, now that you're on the other side of this divorce,
you're my Shiro.
Oh, thank you.
I'm trying to be like you when I grow up.
Well, yeah, the fact that I've kept out of jail because well, yeah. Storm, I'll give her credit first and foremost, but I got this boy to raise. And the thought of his raggedy motherfucking father doing it.
Well, first of all, he wouldn't.
So, facts. That's true. Facts.
I have a question for you, Dale.
Yes.
In hindsight, were there any?
Yes.
Yep.
Big one.
Yep. Yes. There were.
So what made you overlook them and still marry him?
Because I was a dumbass.
Okay, look, that's simple enough.
Were the flags before marriage or after you got married?
Yes.
Both. There were flags before and flags after. Like many, many, many of us, I'm a child of divorce. So is he. And I was like...
You didn't want that?
At all. I mean, it took forever to even get it in my mind to even think about marriage. If you knew me in my 20s, I was like, I ain't never getting married in this motherfucker. I ain't have no kids in this motherfucker. Because I don't want to put my parents in this motherfucker.
Wait a minute. Remember, I'm never using a computer.
Wait you gotta bring up old shit? Nigga's not relevant to the topic.
Okay. I just thought I'd put that out there.
In further hindsight,
yes,
if there was one moment without it being too detailed or too personal that happened where you say, I should have just walked away then, and we wouldn't be going through this now, what would that one moment be?
Hawaii.
Yep. Hawaii.
How you gonna answer for her?
Because she knows. She might as well have been in the motherfucker because every time I was like, giving a call, do. Hey, that's what this bitch done. Nah. She knows.
You said Hawaii?
Yes, because he's former retired military.
Okay.
The first thing that happened was when I was supposed to be getting put onto the insurance and everything. They were like, you can't add her because you still have your first wife listed as your wife
on all your paperwork,
on everything. Yeah. So how are you going to add somebody else?
So right. What did you take that as, like a simple oversight? Like he just didn't think about it?
That's how he sold it to me. Like, no, they fucked up. I was like, so are you divorced? Or are you a bigamist in this motherfucker? What's really going on? No, I'm divorced. I'm like, okay, then produce the decree.
Which
sounds easy enough.
It does.
And I don't want to be an I told you so kind of person, but I told you to ask for that before you got married. Did I not?
Yes, you did.
So hold on.
Legally, you're supposed to produce that before you can get a marriage license.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not privy. So what? He was still married to her when he married you?
I don't think
we don't know.
Okay, got it.
We don't know for sure because the same way he went about divorcing her, dumbass, is the same way he went by divorcing me, was through an order of publication.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's an order of publication?
When you claim you can't locate your spouse.
Yeah.
So
right.
you put it in the newspaper.
And then they have so many days to respond.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, yeah, it's a common thing in military. All right.
Wow.
I don't know whatever he said to the military, but magically they were like, oh, okay, now we can add her. I let it go, but I shouldn't have. That was red flag number one after we got married.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it. What about you, Magic? Was there like a point in time before you got married where you can look back and say, you know what? If I had just not accepted that right there and walked away, I wouldn't be going through this.
There was nothing she did before we got married that would have made me leave her, but I knew she had self-esteem problems. I knew she had a hate-love relationship with herself, and I'm somewhat Buddhist in the sense that you can only view the world the same way you view yourself. So all the problems she had with herself was eventually going to reflect in her relationship with me. I knew that going in. Sometimes you just get cocky, like, okay, I can work with this person.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Every relationship is a constant, is the good shit worth the bullshit? And she was very good at a lot of shit for a very long time. When the shit switched, them red flags was like, damn, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
How about you, Star?
That's a tricky question only because
you were so young.
And really and truthfully, all the red flags before we got married were on my side. I'm just no longer that person. So right now, those red flags would not be in place. But back then, I wouldn't have got married. I wasn't ready. I wasn't happy with me. I had self-esteem issues and I just had issues in my past that had not been properly dealt with that at some point just rose up and choked the shit out of me, even though I thought I stomped them down. And with him, in hindsight, there were really no red flag. There's no perfect person, but he didn't give me any reason to doubt him. But please keep in mind that my insecurity issues did not filter over into me questioning his loyalty. So I was never looking for anything. I wasn't that person to go through your phone, go through your pockets.
Right.
The only point that I could think of that I should have just ended it was after we were married and I caught him in a car with this chick. And even though they weren't really doing anything, the whole situation was suspect.
Right.
So I should have just said, you know what, we done. And I didn't.
Well, that's kind of hard to do. Isn't marriage kind of set up to where it's hard for you to just heed red flags in that way?
It's always going to be some bullshit, so I commend somebody for trying to work it out.
Right.
Once you fall in love with someone, your heart is set up for it to be difficult to just walk away from something when there are red flags. Period. Like,
listen, I've never been married, but I know that
completely fucked up.
We weren't even quite married a year when that happened.
Could have got the annulment for the low.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I had a choice to make. And I basically said, do I love him enough to stay and to get past this? And I thought that I did. The problem was I did love him enough to forgive him. What I didn't realize was how big it was for me to be able to not worry about him when he walked out the door. How important that was in our relationship.
Huge.
Sometimes you with somebody and it's like you wondering what they doing and wondering where they going and all of that other stuff. I never really thought twice really about that with him. I shouldn't have to be concerned with what you're doing when you walk out the door.
Right.
All of a sudden it was, oh, I got to work late. Are you really working late or are you back out in that car with that bitch? You understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no doubt.
It just changed the whole dynamics of our relationship. And so, yeah.
And once that happened, that was really the beginning of the end.
And I didn't realize it at the time, but it was done.
Yeah.
Did he tell the truth after he got caught?
I didn't ask him.
Good question.
It was just a lot of emotions going on. And I remember driving off, going back to the house, and I'm like, okay, having this conversation with myself, like, you know what it looks like. Even though you didn't catch him doing anything, you know what it looks like and you know what it probably is. So what are you going to do? And so I basically said, all right, you have two options. It's either you pack your shit and go, or if you stay, you'll try to work things out and get over it. But it's your decision that if you stay, you can't be rubbing this up in dude's face every 5 minutes because it's your decision to stay.
Right.
And never questioned him about it and never even had a conversation about the whole situation until after we were divorced.
Wow.
I just picked up the phone and I called him and I was just like, hey, such and such and such and such. Remember that day, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, yeah, we was messing around. And I was like, okay. But in my mind, even without his confirmation,
you knew it.
Even though they weren't messing around at that time, it was like, okay, either you've done it already or you're on your way to doing it.
Can I ask you a serious question?
That is a moment.
Yeah.
Sure.
Was the reason why you didn't discuss it with him was because you didn't really want the truth?
I don't remember. Probably.
For a while, definitely.
Right.
I'm definitely one of those type of people that if you don't want to know the truth, don't ask me. And so in that same vein,
you don't ask if you don't want to know.
Yeah, I was young and it was probably one of those situations where I didn't want that final confirmation. I just figured me catching him would be enough for him to straighten up and fly right. And that wasn't the case. Actually, it probably was licensed for him to continue to do so and do more. He probably felt like, oh, well, she's not going to leave me. I'm good.
I think there's a point after you're married and you start seeing red flags, you obviously want to believe it's not as fucked up as it looks. And it takes a while and a lot of arguments with yourself before you're like, nah, this is really some bullshit.
Once you're married, it takes a lot to undo that.
Yeah, you got to sit there and go, fuck, do I want to
Is it worth
pay
it?
my
Right.
own mortgage? What are we going to do with the kids? It's a lot of shit.
It is a lot. You're right.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think some of it was fear too. I just didn't want to be out on my own.
I just didn't want to go back to condom sex, but yeah, shit happens.
Wow.
I didn't want to be another statistic. As y'all know, in the African American community, I believe divorce is higher. Maybe not.
I don't think it is.
Probably not.
Yeah, I feel that I always wanted my children to be raised in a house with both of their parents their whole life.
Yeah, me too.
But then it came to a point like, someday somebody's going to do this same shit to my daughters. How the fuck I'm going to tell them to leave if I stay?
Facts. Yeah.
Am I the one person who was raised in a 2-parent household here?
I think you are.
Yeah.
Well, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I had 2 parents. They just weren't my mama and daddy, but go ahead.
My parents were together and owned the house that I was raised in. And man, I can't tell you how overrated that shit is.
You can say that if you haven't been on the other end.
And I absolutely feel that. But I had a lot of my friends who were products of divorce and were fine. And I could go into all the ways I think my parents fucked me up for marriage. I don't want anything to do with that. If I was going to get into a situation where I was going to be like them, I was like, no, sir, that is not for me.
Right.
At the end of the day, happy parents make happy kids, whether they're together or not.
See, for me, I figured once I had that if we could work it out, that would be great, because I didn't come up with my father at all. Didn't know who he was, what he looked like, none of that. So it was kind of one of those things that when I had her, I really wanted that for her. And we tried for 4 more years and it just didn't work.
Wow.
And here's the thing. It didn't work because of us both, but it was probably more because of me. I had pretty much checked out and didn't even realize how checked out I was. But
Perfectly logical reaction.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
I was over it. So when we separated, I let her dad live with us for a while. And we tried to start something and it didn't work, but I still let him stay because I wanted her to have him. A situation happened where he was gone for a while, and I thought to myself, I cannot continue to do this, because I didn't realize just how miserable he was making me by being up under my roof. And that can't be making me be a healthy parent for this child.
Right.
Yeah.
He can't come back. Having a somewhat mentally healthy parent was more important to me. And then hopefully he'll do the right thing and be there for his kid.
Right.
Yeah.
You were a good one to let his ass come in. I wish I would. Shit. He would have to sleep with one eye open in this motherfucker, because I'd be plotting his death every motherfucking day.
I felt like if I could sacrifice some of my own personal happiness so that she could have hers, then I was willing to do that.
You a better woman than me.
Wasn't a good idea at all.
Word.
After the divorce, you are starting to, I don't know if dating is the correct word for what you're doing.
No. I'm reliving my 20s. I'm having a relapse. Yeah. Well, I was before the pandemic, because now a motherfucker can't even grace my damn doorstep, because I'm like, show me your COVID result. Okay, anyway, yeah.
What's that like after you've been coupled up for so long?
It's not that difficult. I'm not having any residual feelings for my ex or anything that would hold me back from.
Oh no, I wasn't suggesting that at all.
Oh no, I know you weren't, but yeah, just for the people, you know. Yeah. Thank you, and you should. I was against doing online dating things until I talked to another really, really good friend of mine, and she was like,
it wasn't Star.
Century, you better. How you know? You know, no.
Because we've heard her stories.
Okay.
However,
Okay.
the gentlemen that you have
Mm-hmm.
met thus far have all been as a result of people that you knew, right?
Not all of them. Some of them I met online.
Okay.
I'd say about half of them, yeah, I met through somebody else.
You are transparent about not wanting to get into another relationship.
Not right now. I
Oh,
am
that's a
at
new
my
development.
age.
It's called learning from your mistakes.
Yeah, I can't front. I do want to be in another relationship. But with that being said, my wall is up like a motherfucker. So the next one who tries to come at me, and it's not about making him pay for the other one. It's really me doing what I should have done with the other motherfucker.
Due
Make this
diligence.
one work, 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 work. And if
Letting
I feel I'm worthy, you don't think I'm worthy for you to work for to break this wall down, then kick rocks because I don't want you or need you. If you're willing to put in that work, okay, bet.
Okay.
Game on. Let's do it. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But until then, I'm just about the physical. I can't even front because I needs my shit.
this is so sexy.
Okay.
so, Star, you kind of got right into a relationship with your daughter's father after your divorce, right?
Yeah, that don't count. It was only for a couple of months.
Well, damn.
That don't count.
Don't count that
don't
motherfucker.
count.
Neither one of us really put forth any real effort into trying to be a couple. Yeah, I don't know what that was, but it wasn't that.
Okay,
That
so
doesn't count.
how long was it after that situation that you decided to jump back into the deep end of the dating pool?
Roughly about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Wow.
It took me a minute because I had a lot of working on me that I had to do.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even so much about getting over him, even though that took time. Like that started even before we separated. I had a lot of issues, that I had to work out within my own self because I just felt like I was not mentally healthy enough to start dating again until I felt like, okay, I think I'm ready to start seeing somebody. And then I ran into a bunch of idiots.
Tell
Yeah.
it.
And then I ended up dating a guy that I had been knowing for about 20 years at that point. That lasted a couple of years, but it didn't work out well.
Wow.
I will wholeheartedly admit when I'm wrong or if I'm basically like a part of the problem. In that situation, he was the problem.
Right.
He hadn't taken off enough time from his previous relationship and he was still bitter and still had issues. So that's why that didn't work out.
He's bitter now and he's in a relationship.
Damn.
I think that's just who he is.
He started that situation before he and I was complete. And there's a part of me that's like, yeah, that shit you going through is self-inflicted. Because how much bullshit can you shovel at a person?
Right.
So, Magic?
Yes, ma'am.
You're processing all this?
Yeah.
How long before I get out the friend zone? Just curious.
That's right. I want to know that my damn self.
Seriously, like how long do you intend to hold out before you go back into dating mode or meeting people or whatever?
Yeah, I was never much of a dater.
Having relations, damn it. I'm sorry, go.
I don't know, probably this summer, but it'll just be fucking. I'm not trying to be with no.
That's right. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm keeping it real. Like, now I gotta have a whole phase. It's coming. There's no rush. Gotta find worthy partners.
Anyway.
It's very liberating. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. Yes. Not about me.
Now, Del, you and that bitch.
You're invited back with an open invitation.
Oh, thank you. Yay. Be careful what you ask for. Okay, anyway, go ahead. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You and that bitch have a child together.
Yes.
Damn.
I know. I wouldn't trade my child for anything, even with his father being who his father is.
Your child was very young when
Yes.
you guys separated and subsequently divorced.
Yes. He was 3.
How did you handle talking to him about these things?
I didn't. He
Yeah, at
adapted.
3, you go with the flow.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't ask, where's my daddy? It was none of that. Why are we not living? It was none of that. Now, let his raggedy ass motherfucking father tell it, lying bitch. He claims that our child asked him, Daddy, how come I'm not living here? You lying bitch. He had never said shit to me about why would I. So why would he just
Yeah.
magically ask you all of a sudden? You lying motherfucker. Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. I didn't have to explain anything to him until recently. He is now almost 7,
Right.
and he saw me looking at pictures, and he was like, "So, mommy, why don't we live there anymore? Why aren't we there? Or why did you leave?" Or something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
Mm-hmm.
And inside, I was like, okay, don't let him see you crumbled. Because I'm not ready to explain to him
Because your daddy
the fact. I was
Yeah.
smiling and I said, it's all good. I said, I will tell you at another time. But I
Yeah.
said, don't worry about it. Don't fret. We're happy where we are. We're good, right? Yes, mommy. Okay, cool and hip. So he went and got his toys and we played. That was that.
Because that's the extent of it as a child.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when he's much older, I'm not going to be worried because I know the facts. And despite what his raggedy ass father is going to try and do, he knows the facts too. So when it all does come out to our child, I'm not worried because I got truth and facts on my side. Whereas his father would kind of cover that shit up and be like, I didn't do that. What she said I did what? Yeah, bitch. Mm-hmm. Tell the truth, shame the devil to your child. Mm-hmm.
All right, Star, how did you explain your baby daddy to your child?
I was lucky. My daughter, for many, many years, was always one of those go with the flow type of kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
she did not really question why, but she was 4 as well. She missed them for sure, but I think what kind of offset that was the whole fact of her actual dad being around. The only question that I really had to explain to her, she wanted to know why her dad wasn't there for her or something like that. So
Yeah.
anyway, the only way that I could explain it to her was that it's hard for people to love others properly when they don't love themselves properly.
If you don't preach,
Good.
That's kind of how I
mm,
explained it to my child as well. It's not that he doesn't love you, it's that some people don't know how to express love
mhm.
properly. They don't understand, basically.
It's not that you're not worthy. It's not that he doesn't love you. You know, he does love you. And I always felt like
Oh,
he loved her. However, because
hello.
he didn't love himself, he could not love her the way that she deserved to be loved. That was my basic explanation to her.
Magic, your children are a little bit older, though.
And way more inquisitive
Oh,
because they wouldn't let none of that shit ride.
They're older.
wow.
They're like, Daddy, we're a family. We're supposed to be together. You
Wow.
moved out. Why did you do that? I know you and
Uh-huh.
mommy were arguing a lot before you left, but y'all need to get back together and talk and work that out.
Oh, and that
Wow.
doesn't tug at your heartstrings?
I'm always truthful with them. I'm like, look, I made the decision I thought was best. And
Mm-hmm.
your mother knows why I left. She don't want to tell you. You
Yeah.
talk to her about it.
How old are they?
9 and 10.
She's not going to tell them. No, no, no,
Well,
no.
she thinks she has 10 to 20 years before it really becomes an issue. I'm like, now you got 10 to 20 months. Because
Right, right,
they
right.
are
Yeah.
surely like, why is this other nigga up in here and daddy ain't?
Oh, it's like that. She's already brought. Ooh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her friend.
Mm.
He just spends the night, 3-4 times a week.
But she doesn't want to get divorced.
Mm.
Yeah, another weird thing, but whatever.
She wants her husband back.
Aww.
The simple logic is she lost a good husband. I lost a liar and a cheater. Let's see who replaces what first.
Wow. I heard all that. Tell it.
Well, damn. That leaves me out.
And this is a conversation we had years before any of this shit happened.
Because I can't replace a liar and a cheater. I'm sorry. I don't.
Yeah, I can do that by the end of the night. And it's, 11 something?
Right.
I'm entirely too lazy to do all that, so.
Damn.
Wow.
Anyway, it was really good having you on this week, Del.
Thank you.
And I miss you.
I miss you too. Thank you for having me. I was very honored to be here, and I would love to come back anytime.
Yeah, get some more of that aggression out.
Yeah, I didn't even hear back in that sentence.
And I got a lot.
We cheaper than therapy.
Yeah.
You ain't lying on that, because quietly, yes, I'm in it right now.
Yeah.
But insurance is paying for that, so fuck it. Yay.
Give it up for insurance.
A job with good ass insurance can't beat it.
Cannot beat it, although, I mean, medical care should be free up in this bitch, but that's a whole other issue.
That's a whole other show.
Yeah, whole other show.
You're in the wrong country for that.
So, Magic, you want to take us out with your sexy voice?
Oh, I mean,
wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, then I'm gonna fucking instinctively try to do the phone voice on purpose. All right, stop it.
You don't have to. Go on. Shut up.
We'd like to thank our special guest for coming through. We appreciate you, Del.
Thank you.
Stara, love ya. Stormy, alright, you're the greatest. If you like the show, tell a friend, tell a foe, tell a hoe. If you don't, tell everybody you know. It's the Threesome Pod on Twitter and the Threesome Podcast on Instagram, and
on Facebook.
We'll get around to Facebook.
Yeah, one day.
Coming eventually.
You can also email us at thethreesomepodcast@gmail.com.
And you can leave voice messages on Anchor?
Sure.
Yeah, it's an option once you go to it.
Yeah, it's an option.
All right. Good night, people. Hug your kids.
We're out.
Wear your mask, 6 feet distance, wash your hands, social distance. Oh, I'm sorry. I was getting carried away. My bad.
And wash your ass.
Yeah, wash your ass. Oh, that's first and foremost.
Stay off people's nerves.
Oh, my goodness.
Don't walk in front of the television when the game is on. What else?
Okay, because you can catch a case on that motherfucker alone. Shit.
All right.
2 minutes left and your monkey ass walking in front of the TV. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.